and welcome to my first edition of Sippzs Storiez. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I don't know why I can't go live yet, but I can't. TikTok will fix it soon, I'm sure. Nevertheless, tonight's sip will be 7-Up. Yes, I know it's an old faithful, but they got a new flavor right now, and it's tropical, and it's peach mango. So good. I love anything peach. I love peaches. So we trying this tonight. Now, in advance of me knowing that I would be with you all tonight, I did what? I set up a cold one, chill my glass. Now let's take a sip. But first, a toast to you for joining me tonight on my first episode of Sippzs Storiez. You know, don't nothing hit like a good cold drink. And this is wonderful. It's a little on the sweet side. I wish it was a little more tangy, but I could probably put some lemon in it, slice a lemon or two, and it'd be perfect. But one more sip before we get started with our story. Okay. So tonight's story is about who? The Cable Man. Yeah, the Cable Man. So just think, what did the Cable Man do? I'm gonna need for y'all to sit down for this one right here, cause it was something else. It ain't what you think though. No, none of that happening. Nevertheless, it was an experience, and I wanted to share. It deserves a share. Okay, several years ago, I was living in an apartment, and cable having problems. Cable in, cable out, cable in, cable out. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. This was long before, we started working from home and all that kind of stuff. So I called a cable company. They told me, don't worry, Miss Elise, we'll have somebody to come out there and check it out right away. So this was several years ago, because ain't nothing right away about the cable company no more. Nevertheless, guy came out, he called me first, and he was like, hey, I'm coming, I'm, so many minutes away, just want to make sure you're at home. And I was like, yes, I am at home. At that time, I was recovering from a fall because I fell down the steps. So I wasn't just going up and down the steps. I had a boot and crutches and all that kind of crazy stuff at the time. So, went on, and I told him I would leave the front door open. I said, just knock, just to let me know it's you, because I won't have to shoot nobody. Back in them days, I had me a nice shotgun. So, I was always prepared. Girl wasn't never scared. So, he finally got there. He knocked on the door, and he was like, Miss Elise, this is such person, with I think it was Comcast at that time. And I was like, okay. So, I was at the top of the stairs. I peeped around the railings, to see him. I was like, hey, how you doing? He said, well, I'm gonna check out your outlets and everything. And I said, ask any questions, I said, that's fine, I'll be here. I'm in my room. So I went on, got back in the bed, on the phone, running my mouth, unconcerned with anything he had to do in there. Well, he knocked on the door. He's like, Miss Elise, hate to disturb you, I'm gonna need to get access to your attic. I was like, okay, go right ahead. I mean, like Yasleen gonna be going up there opening attics for you. I said, the attic is right over there, the bedroom. He was like, okay. He said, well, I gotta go get my ladder. Went downstairs, he got his little ladder, came on. I heard him come back upstairs. So I'm in there just in the thrust of a conversation. I heard a scream, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, girl, I gotta call you back. Cable man here, and I heard him scream. I said, I don't know if the man done fell or what. So I call you back. So all I remember is seeing him coming down that ladder, getting back on top of the ladder from the attic, and covered. And when I say covered, I do mean covered in fiberglass. It was awful. Face, head, clothes. It was just like somebody sprayed it on. And I'm like, dude, what happened? He was like, I opened to come, to get up in here, and it all came down. And I was like, oh wow. And it was all over the floor and everything. And I was like, okay, I get the vacuum cleaner and get this stuff up. I'm like, I got a small child. Sterling was young at that time. He was just a kid. And I didn't want him getting in none of that. So I'm vacuuming. And he was like, ma'am, I hate to trouble you. He said, but could I use your shower? And I'm like, okay. I had another bathroom. So, like he was going to be in my bathroom. So I ain't care. Whatever. Go ahead. I got him a towel and a soap. I said, soap is already in there, what have you. He was like, thank you so much. I said, I'm going to go ahead and throw all these, shake these clothes out and throw them in the wash machine right quick on a short wash. So you won't be walking around to your next appointment covered in fiberglass, and we be right back where we are at this moment. And he was like, oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I was like, okay. I said, but you best to get my cable straight. Let us keep the gold in mind. He said, man, I promise I'm going to have it straight for you. So he was in there taking a shower. I went on, threw the clothes in the washing machine, and I did what afterwards? Went back to my room, closed the door, got back in the bed, and got back on the phone. All right. He was in there a long time, I can't say nothing. I ain't never had fiberglass to fall on me like that. So, hey, it take long as it take. He had a good bit of hair. So, I can imagine all that, trying to get it out. So, went on. I'm, as I said, running my mouth on the phone. Unconcerned. So, I get a tap at the door. Miss Elise, how come he come peeling around the corner with his shalang-a-lang wiggling and the fruity pebbles poking out? And I'm like, oh, good. Towel, bruh, towel. Too much overexposure. I'm like, my eyes burning. Oh, no, please stop. I can't take it. Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you have a towel, use it. That's too much. Was bruh man in suggestion mode? Unreal. Absolutely unreal. He was like, man, I'm so sorry. So sorry. My back feel like, somebody scratched it. Do you have some lotion? Where, you could like rub on my back. What? I can't make this stuff up. First of all, I still got the image burned into my brain of the shalang-a-lang swinging and the fruity pebbles pushing out. All of that was way too much sight for me. Way too much. And now you need me to do what? I said, you feel like you've been cut? He said, yeah, right back here. And when he turned around, it was obvious that there was some inflammation because it was bright red. I said, well, I guess. And he said, well, I stand over here. So I had to stand up. And I was rubbing lotion on him. And in my head, you know what I heard? Y'all gonna fall out. There's a verse. Y'all remember the song The Hump? Put lotion on me. It felt so unnatural. I was like, okay. I'm like, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Okay. So he sits down on my bed. I'm like, I did not ask him to make himself to home, but he did. I'm like, oh my God, is this day gonna ever end? He said, well, I'm gonna get up in a minute and I'm gonna go back over there and I'm gonna, get your wiring redone and everything. And I said, yeah, go ahead and put them clothes in the dryer down there. They ought to be about ready by now. I'm like ready for bruh to leave, okay? One of my friends said, girl, you should have reported him to Comcast. Baby, they wasn't gonna do nothing. They gonna say, well, did your cable get fixed? I need a sip. Real good, y'all. And by the way, it is sugar free, but it's still sweet. So he's sitting on the edge of the bed in a full-blown conversation with me. And in my head, I'm like, there is a naked man with the Fruity Pebbles sitting there in a shalanga-langa dangling at your bed. So unnatural. It felt so wrong. It just felt so wrong. Wasn't anybody right. And please do not ask me about size and girth, because again, the image burned in my head. I could almost still see it to this day. It was just so painful. I'm like, why me? Why me? Ain't I'm hurt enough. So clothes finally got dry. I said, oh, I heard the buzzer. So he went on down there. He's like, oh, you probably tired of talking to me by now. I said, it's been a long day. Still trying to be the Southern girl that I was raised to be. Not being rude, but at the same time, letting you know it is really time for you to go. My father always told me, a lady always knows when to leave. Obviously, he was not taught when a man should go. He went down, put his little clothes on. He was very thankful. He was like, Jessalyn, thank you so much. I know, I exposed you. I said, yeah, honey. That was a lot for me to say. I was generous. So that is what the cable man did. My cable got fixed. I didn't have any more problems. But it was awkward. It was weird. It was unnatural. It didn't feel good. I was just like, I felt dirty. Just dirty. I was like, this ain't what I do. No. This can't never happen again, ever. The next one they get the fiberglass, he gonna have to go back to the house, because it is just way more than I could contain. Again, image burned, crisp in my brain, thinking about shalanga-lang, Fruity Pebbles. Stop! Please, stop now. Stop now. I was never scared, though. I was always asked the question, well, you ain't think he would try to rape you? Baby, with that double-barrel shotgun I had laying under my pillow, those Fruity Pebbles would have been frosted flakes by the time I got through, okay? A girl weren't never scared. So, this will be the end of episode 1 of Sippzs Storiez. Tune in next week. What we gonna talk about next week? The wave pool. Yeah. Thank y'all for joining me tonight, and I will see you next week.